Hey guys, so one of the components of our video channel for Canyon Academy is that we'd like to begin introducing students to MCAT style questions before their junior and senior year, because a lot of students have a tendency to just kind of put that off as a very last priority thing. As I'm going through the class with you guys right now, I'm noticing that in my physics MCAT books, the topics generally are only about 1 or 2 pages, so you could actually purchase a textbook now. I would really recommend you purchase your MCAT books now. And as you're learning the topics in your course, study your MCAT book at the same time, because there's going to be a lot of little tips in there, little equation tips in there too, as far as how to approach problems, how to solve problems. And so we're going to go ahead and take a look at an MCAT style question here in this video, and just kind of first thing I want you to notice is just how much fluff the MCAT gives you. So a hiker throws a rock horizontally off a cliff that is 40 meters above the water below. I'm going to draw it out. If the speed of the rock is 30 meters per second, how long does it take for the rock to hit the water? So it's going to experience this is a projectile motion, because it's going to experience projectile motion somewhat like that. And we want to know how long it's going to take for it to travel these 40 seconds. I'm sorry, these 40 meters. And so from our knowledge of equations, we know that we can solve for the time that an object is going to take to hit the ground using our delta x equals initial velocity times time plus 1/2 acceleration times squared. In this case, we don't have an initial velocity in the vertical direction because it was thrown horizontally off a cliff. So we would just be setting 40 meters, which is the distance that it's going to fall. We would set that equal to 1/2. The acceleration is gravity, so 10 meters per second squared. I should say squared up here. 10 meters per second squared. And the reason that it's positive is because we're seeing how long it's going to take to travel in this downward direction. So we're assuming that down is the positive direction in this case. And then we've got time squared. So that's really all we need to figure out how long it's going to take the rock to travel those 40 meters. This 30 meters is irrelevant to the question because we don't need that information to solve for our total time that it's going to take to hit the water. So when we do those calculations, we would multiply 40 meters by 2 in order to get rid of this 1/2. So that would give us 80 meters equals 10 meters per second squared times squared. We would divide by 10, and that would give us 8 seconds squared is equal to time squared. We take the square root of both sides, and the square root of 8 is roughly, is closer to 3 than it is to 2. And so this is important because we know the square root of 4, that's 2, and we know the square root of 9, that's 3. So you can estimate that because 8 is closer to 9 than it is to 4, it's going to be closer to 3 seconds. And the MCAT is going to give you absolute values. So 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds is not going to give you 2.875, but it's going to give you a rounded answer. And so we just have to round up, and in this case the answer would be A. Now this is a very simplified type of MCAT question. The MCAT might give you a passage that talks about a gun, let's say, and it introduces you about the history of the gun and the mechanics of the gun, and it gives you all this fluff information, but all you need to know is that if that bullet was shot at a certain height and you've got your acceleration of gravity, then you can solve for the amount of time that it takes to hit the ground. And so that's just very different from our course questions, because our core questions will sometimes require difficult calculations, but for the most part the MCAT requires a lot of conceptual knowledge, and the calculations are actually very simple, because just a reminder, you're not going to get a calculator on the MCAT, and you're not going to get an equation sheet, which is why we always advocate memorize your equation sheet and try to do as much mental math as you possibly can.